Good morning. Certainly good to see everybody here this morning. I'll be turning your Bibles to Mark chapter 5. This morning we're going to be talking about the hope that Jesus provides. There was a man from the country who had gone into the big city, and he hailed a cab and got into the back of the cab, and as they went along for a little bit, he got thinking to himself, I'm pretty hungry, and I wonder where I get something good to eat around here. So he thought for a minute. Of course, he's not familiar with the city, so he reaches up and taps on the cab driver's shoulder. And the cab driver lets out just this blood-curdling scream, and starts to lose control of the cab, and it runs up onto the sidewalk and narrowly misses some pedestrians and slams on the brakes, and the cab comes to a complete stop. And there's just some silence, except for two hearts pounding like bass drums inside that cab. Just sit there for a minute. The cab driver turns around, looks at the guy, and said, "You scared me half to death." And the guy from the country said, "Well, I'm sorry, I didn't know that tapping you on your shoulder like that was scary." The cab driver said, "Well, it's really not your fault." He said, "This is my first day driving a cab. The last 25 years I've been a hearse driver." So you see, we know that when something seems dead, that it's time to give up hope. But that's exactly the point that Jesus is challenging this ruler of the synagogue to rethink. And this comes from Mark chapter 5, starting in verse 21. Maybe. Might help if I turn it on. Mark 5:21. And when Jesus had crossed again in the boat to the other side, a great crowd gathered about him, and he was beside the sea. Then came one of the rulers of the synagogue, Jairus by name, and seeing him, he fell at his feet and implored him earnestly, saying, "My little daughter is at the point of death. Come lay your hands on her so that she may be well and live." And he went with him. So something unique right off the bat that we see from this account is the fact that a synagogue ruler is following Jesus. Now, that's unusual because Jesus challenged the synagogue system. He challenged their entire system. And so, it would have been unusual for Jairus to be there. It would have been unusual for people to see a synagogue leader there with Jesus. And you got to ask yourself a question. Say, why is it that this man would humiliate himself in front of the people to fall at Jesus' feet? And I think the answer is somewhat obvious. Being a father trumps being a leader. I have daughters, and put yourself in this guy's shoes. If something was wrong with one of my daughters, there is nothing I wouldn't do. There's no price I wouldn't pay. There's nothing I wouldn't give. No cost I wouldn't pay, other than even my own life, to help one of my daughters. And you can see Jairus' desperation here in this. And in a minute you'll be able to see his exasperation too. But there isn't much time. My daughter is dying. And so they're going to go back to the house, and suddenly, there in verse 30, Jesus says, "Who touched me?" as they're on the way. Now, you put yourself in Jairus' shoes, you've got to be thinking, what do you mean who touched you? There's a whole crowd of people here trying to touch you. Everyone's touching you, but there's a little bit of backstory here that we need to get to. This woman who touched Jesus, it says that she had had a blood issue for the last 12 years. Now, Mark says that she had suffered under many physicians. I think that's in verse 26. And basically, they just took her money. Now, Luke rather gives an account of this as well. He doesn't mention that. I think that's probably because Luke was a physician. He's not going to talk about the fact that the doctors took her money and didn't help her at all. But basically, she's desperate too. So Jairus is desperate. This woman is desperate. 12 years she's been dealing with this blood issue. She sees her opportunity, and she sneaks into this crowd. She grabs Jesus' garment, and Jesus understands that he feels this. He feels power go out from him, and he stops basically to have a little bit of Bible study with her there. Now put yourself in Jairus' feet. Hey, this woman has had this problem for 12 years. My daughter is dying. She could be sick for 12 years in a day. We can come back tomorrow and deal with her. Let's go. You can almost sense the exasperation that he would be feeling because Jesus had stopped to help this woman. He's afraid it's going to be too late. And then look at verse 35, because his concern becomes his test. While he was still speaking, there came from the ruler's house someone who said, "Your daughter is dead. Why trouble the teacher any further?" Again, put yourself in Jairus' shoes. Not only did he not save his daughter, he wasn't even there when she died. He wasn't even there to hold his 12-year-old daughter as she was dying. I can't imagine the emotions that he is going through. Could any dad feel more hopeless in this situation? Now look at verse 36. But overhearing what they said, Jesus said to the ruler of the synagogue, "Do not fear, only believe." How could he not be afraid? His daughter was dead. How could anybody not be afraid in that situation? But on the other hand, Jairus had just seen Jesus speak into a situation that doctors couldn't cure. He had just seen that miracle take place of this woman being healed. And he has to make a decision. Do I give up and say it's too late? She's already dead. Or do I go to my house with this guy? Now you know what? That's the same decision that we have to make over and over again, right? There's two voices struggling in our minds and in our heads, tugging at us. And one of those voices is always saying, "Why bother? It's hopeless. Why bother?" It's the point of your life where you've been tempted to give up. And you say, "Well, why bother?" To quit trying. To just accept the status quo. It's too late. Some people have done this with their marriage. It's stale, it's stagnant. What good would counseling do? Why would we try to reignite the fire? It's too late. Why bother? Some people do this with their finances. They get in such a financial hole. Never get my way out of this. What good would budget counseling do me? Why bother? Some people struggle with addiction. They know they need help. They tried it before. It didn't work. It seems like failure is inevitable. Why bother? Some struggle with a secret sin. Told God 100 times I'm not going to do that again. And then I've done it again. I don't even want to talk to God about it anymore. Why bother? For some people, it's a strained relationship. Maybe it's a parent, a sibling, it's a child. Somebody needs to extend somebody else some forgiveness. But it's really going to do any good. Why bother? I struggle with why bother. I think all of us struggle with why bother at times, don't we? It's sometimes that voice is in the crowd that's saying why bother. Sometimes that voice is in our own homes saying why bother. Most of the time that voice is in our head saying why bother. It's too late. You remember the ladies that went to the tomb that morning? They weren't looking for a resurrection, were they? It was over. What was the point? We act as if Jesus can't have an impact on our lives unless we listen to another voice. And that voice says, "Do not fear, just believe. Unbelief puts my circumstances between me and Jesus. Belief puts Jesus between me and my circumstances. Jesus is saying to this dad here, he's saying, listen to me. Let's go home. Now, Jesus knew that the word that they got, that the child was dead, he knew that was true, didn't he? He knew that that was a fact. What we call irreversible, Jesus says is redeemable. What we say is finality, Jesus says is that's just a technicality. When we say, disease is awful, Jesus says, I'm stronger than disease. Jesus says, I cast out demons. Jesus says, I'm larger than despair. I'm larger than disappointment. I defeat death. You see, Jesus could conquer and did conquer the problem that was behind all of these other problems. The problem of sin. And here's the deal. This world that we live in, it is hopeless. It is despairing. This world that we live in does hurt. But God didn't make it that way. We did. And God will be fair and God will be just to wipe us all off of the face of the earth. That's what we deserve. But not once has God said, why bother? He just keeps coming after us. We see it in Scripture, thousands and thousands of years worth of history of God pursuing His people, coming after His people. And He continues to come after us today. He sent His Son to take all of our mess-ups, all of our sins, all of those times that we said, I'm not going to do that again, and then we did it again, on Himself. He died for us so that His goodness, His purity could be put on us. And you say, well, that sounds too good to be true. Yeah, except for one thing. They put Him in a grave. God said, count to 3. And then Jesus come out of that grave. Romans chapter 4, verses 24 and 25 says, Jesus was delivered up for our trespasses and raised for our justification. So you see, the scoreboard, it used to say death 100, life 0, but the scoreboard is not, death's not undefeated anymore. Jesus defeated death. And once we understand that, it has an entirely impactful message on our lives. It impacts us in such a hard way. There was an author and a mathematician from the University of Oxford who claims Christianity. He visited Auschwitz with a Jewish woman. And this woman's family had been killed at Auschwitz during the whole Holocaust. And as they are walking along, they come to this display that shows some of the horrible experiments that the Nazis had done on children. And she looks at this man, this Christian man, and says, what does your religion make of this? Well, he knows that this is not a time for easy answers, right? There are no easy answers to this. This is not a time for some little pithy bumper sticker quote, right? This woman's family had been killed here. And he says, you know what? I don't have an easy answer for this. But I have the beginning of the answer. I'm a Christian, and you know that I believe Jesus was the Messiah. God in the flesh, which I know is hard for you as a Jew to accept. But if He was, let me ask you, what was He doing on that cross? Could it be that God did not distance Himself from our pain? He did not distance Himself from our agony and our hurt, but He entered into it with us. He bore it for us. That's the beginning of hope. But it doesn't stop there, because they put Him in a grave and He didn't stay. Jesus is alive. He came back from the dead. He reigns over everything. He's going to return to this earth. He's going to judge. He's going to judge with equity. And He's going to make everything right again. And this woman begins to weep quietly. And she says, why has nobody ever told me about this Messiah? You see, the impact of a collision with Jesus should have an infusion of hope in our lives. Do we feel hopeless at times? Yes, but we shouldn't, because we have Jesus. We should have this infusion of hope in our lives. You know, our society sets aside one day a year. We call it Easter. to recognize this hope. But for us as people who follow Jesus, that's not a once-a-year thing, is it? That's an everyday thing for us. We have that hope because of his resurrection every single day. We interpret life because we've heard the voice of one who come out of the tomb saying, believe. It's not why bother. It's why settle for things the way that they are. Now, I ask you, which voice is going to have the biggest impact in your life? The voice that says, why bother? Or the voice that says, believe? So if we're going to listen to Jesus, there's two things that we have to do. The first one is you have to tune out the doubters. Now look back in verse 38 with me. If you're going to be full of hope, sometimes you have to empty out the room. Look at verse 38. I love what Jesus does here. They came to the house of the ruler of the synagogue, and Jesus saw a commotion, people weeping and wailing loudly. And when he had entered, he said to them, why are you making a commotion and weeping? The child is not dead, but sleeping. And they laughed at him. Now, that's probably not a good plan to laugh at Jesus, is it? That's a bad idea. But he put them all outside. He took the child's father and mother and those who were with him and went in where the child was. Now, the first thing Jesus did is he got rid of the voice of doubt. These people laughing at him. He made them all leave. Another version, I think Matthew says he told them to get out. It's the same word that was used when Jesus was cast out of the demon. Get out. He emptied the room. Got rid of all of the doubt. You know, it's not productive for us to repeat words of doubt and repeat words of fear. You can't silence all of the negativity because we live in a world that still laughs at Jesus. But if you live by Jesus' morals, you're still going to get laughed at, right? People are still going to look at you and say, what an odd person, living by this man's morals. They're going to laugh at you. So it's impossible to get rid of all of it. We can't silence it. But you don't have to give it a place in your head this day. Stop and consider Jesus' track record for a minute. Maybe that's why the story with this woman who had blood issues inserted right in the middle of this account for Jairus. Maybe he needed to see a track record. Maybe he needed to see somebody else's miracle taking place for him to be able to believe in his own. I don't know. But right here in this room, there are people who have had strained marriages, who have made them better. They've reunited them. There are people who have repaired strained relationships with family. There are people here who have broke the bondage of sin that they've dealt with for years. Look at Jesus' track record. Give him your full attention. Listen to what he's saying. You need to make the decision that you're going to enter into that room that everybody else says is hopeless. So the second thing we have to do is turn in the direction of hope. You know, we're so tempted to say my problem is my trials. The issue is my temptations, but that's really not what it is. Because we all have trials, we all have temptations, we all have stuff that we deal with. The problem is the absence of hope. When we're dealing with those things and we don't recognize hope, that's where our problem really comes from. So the first thing Jesus says when he comes out of the grave was what? Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. The first thing he does is change, hope changes everything. Don't be afraid. That changes everything for us. There were 4 widows who were in a nursing home, and they were playing cards in the foyer. And in walks this distinguished elderly gentleman, nice-looking older man. And he walks up to the front counter, and he's waiting for some service. And these 4 ladies, these 4 widows are there playing cards. And the first one looks at him, and she says, well, what are you doing here? And he said, well, I'm going to live here. He's kind of excited. And the second widow says, well, where did you come from? And he said, well, to be honest, I've been in prison for the last 25 years. And the third widow says, for what? And he said, well, I murdered my wife. And the fourth widow says, so you're saying you're single. Hope changes everything, doesn't it? Hope reinterprets everything. Now, I'm not saying that evil doesn't have its moments. Evil does have its moments. But the God that we worship raises the dead. And that gives us leverage over everything in our lives. It means that we believe in deliverance. It means that we have a renewed strength to continue the battle. It means that we can endure without becoming bitter. Because it's easy to become bitter, right? Bitter. But if we have that hope, we don't have to be bitter. And most importantly, it means that the status quo never gets the final word. James Stockwell, a general, spent 8 years as a POW in Vietnam. And he was interviewed about his time in captivity. He was asked, how did you make it? How did you hold on? And his answer was brilliant. He said, I never lost faith in the end of the story. Now that should have an impact on us as Christians, right? We should never lose faith in the end of the story. We don't laugh at people like Jesus, at these people like that. We don't laugh at Jesus like these people did. We laugh with Jesus because we know that he can raise the dead as easily as a daddy can go in and wake up his daughter who's asleep. And look at verse 41. Taking her by the hand, he said to her, Talitha Kumi, which means, little girl, I say to you, arise. And immediately the girl got up and began walking, for she was 12 years of age. And they were immediately overcome with amazement. You know what? Her story is your story. It's my story. We get up. The relationship hasn't been easy. Get up. I messed up again, but I'm not quitting. I'm going to get up. I'm tired. I'm weary. But I'm going to get up. In fact, I'd say as Christians, we need to get used to getting up. We're going to do it over and over again in this earth. But one day it's going to be fully realized. And think about this. Jesus could have healed this little girl from a mile away if he wanted to, right? But he didn't. He went into that house. He went into her room. It says he took her by the hand. And he told her to get up. And think about her waking up from being dead. The first thing she feels is Jesus' hand holding her. The first thing she sees is Jesus' face. The first voice she hears is Jesus' voice. And someday, you're going to hear your name. You're going to see your Savior's face. And it's going to be time for you to get up. And the hope of that day should have an impact on every day that we remain here on this earth. Jesus provides hope for us. You only have that hope if you're a Christian. If you're not a Christian, we would encourage you to become one. Today is the day to become a Christian. Follow Jesus, become his disciple. Be buried with him in baptism. I'm going to change my life. I'm going to put my trust in God. I'm going to put my trust in that resurrection of Jesus Christ, the hope that that provides. If you're a Christian and there's something that we can help you with, whatever it is, make it known while I stand on this.